So today is going to be a more relaxed video. I asked you on Twitter, YouTube and Instagram for any questions you have for me because today is a long-awaited Q&A video. But to give it a bit of a cycling twist, I'll be answering your questions during a Zone 2 ride. So let's jump on the bike. Anyway, let's start off with the most popular question of them all. Is Pro Cycling Manager ever coming back on this channel? Honestly, probably not. In my last year of uploading PCM videos, I really did not enjoy it anymore and it felt more like a responsibility to you, the audience, because you stuck with me so long when I made those videos that I felt like I had to. But my passion for creating PCM videos was basically gone, and I was in the kind of spot where I felt like I had kind of reached a ceiling when it comes to the amount of people that watched Pro Cycling Manager content, and all those feelings combined felt like I had to change something. So the logical step was staying within the realm of cycling, but expanding my content towards the likes of my own cycling journey and the professional cycling content I make. On one end, I took a proper risk of alienating the PCM crowd, but I had the confidence that I could make content good enough for them to stick around because it's also cycling, and also be able to grow my channel beyond what it was, and I feel like I've succeeded in that this year. The bottom line is I'm enjoying what I'm doing a lot now, and I hope you are too. Next question, how did I get into cycling? It's funny because the story actually starts in a different sport. I wasn't actually into cycling as a kiddo, I was into football, and through one of the coaches, I think their son was playing the game Pro Cycling Manager, I think Paris-Roubaix with Discovery Channel, so Stijn de Volder and Leif Hoste back in the day. And because I saw that person playing that, I was interested. My mom came home 2-3 weeks later with a magazine with Pro Cycling Manager 2005 attached to it. I was honestly addicted to playing Pro Cycling Manager, so that led to me watching more cycling races and more cycling races until I got where I am now, which is basically addicted to the sport of cycling. So that's how I got here. Do you have long-term cycling goals? To be honest, I only really have one long-term goal, which is getting in better shape, losing weight, becoming a better cyclist. Otherwise, I tend to set my aim on a shorter term, so for example, year by year, where in 2024, I'd like to climb a well-known climb. I'd like to finish a proper sportive. There's this YouTuber, Matt Lane Fitness, and he's got this motto that is better than yesterday, every day. And I try to live by that. The next question is, which smart trainer do I have? Right now, and throughout the last year, I've been using the Zwift Hub, which is now called the Zwift Hub Classic, and I'm really happy with it. In my opinion, when you're an overweight cyclist like myself, a wheel-on trainer is a horrible experience. So I tend to be a fan of the more budget-friendly direct drive trainers, like the Zwift Hub. Actually, if you're looking to buy a Zwift Hub, there's a link in the description with which you can buy your Zwift Hub and support this channel at the same time. What is my favorite Zwift route? I'm not sure these are necessarily my favorite Zwift routes, but they are the ones that I ride the most, which is Tempus Fugit, because it's flat, and Volcano KOM Climb, whatever it's called, because it's a climb that is short enough and shallow enough for me to get over relatively comfortably. How did you end up doing the Lantern Rouge Cycling podcast with Patrick? I reckon it was around June 2020, July 2020, where I was in a place where I wanted to expand upon my content, because I was only doing Pro Cycling Manager then. I wanted to get into pro cycling as well. And Patrick wanted to expand on his own content and also had the idea of doing a podcast. So we both kind of wanted to transcend what we did, and just the right place at the right time. We were texting each other on Instagram and 30 minutes on Discord, and a few days later and we started doing the podcast for GP Plouay Britannia Classic. We're now 4 years later almost. What a journey it's been, but it's only the beginning. How did you learn English? How did you get comfortable enough speaking English to an international audience? Honestly, gaming and YouTube. For example, playing RuneScape as a kid, trying to make a Minecraft YouTube channel as a kid, all that kind of stuff combined. I gradually got better at English. Fun fact, there's actually still a Minecraft video online, not on this channel, where you can hear 14-year-old squeaky Benji talking in English. It's such a major difference compared to now. Honestly, I hope no one ever finds that video. Before we dive into the next question, this video is brought to you by Sirocco, a cycling kit brand that is both budget-friendly and delivers quality products. In this video, I'm wearing their SRX Pro Dauphiné jersey with SRX Pro Elite bib shorts. During most of my indoor rides, I tend to ride with their atomic base layer to keep myself cool on the bike. But of course, winter is around the corner, so I do recommend their M4 long sleeve jerseys. Personally, I'm a big fan of their M4 Fleet Moss jersey, which I tend to combine with their J2 High-Vis rain jacket. Black Friday is still 2 weeks away, but Sirocco's Black Friday sales have already started. That means up to 70% off across the board. If you want to hook yourself up with some Sirocco clothing, you can do so through the link in the description for an additional 10% off the already reduced price. That's actually crazy. Anyway, back to the Q&A. After working for Jumbo-Visma in 2022, would you consider working for a team again in the future? So for context, I worked for Jumbo-Visma in 2022 as a video analyst and as a tactical consultant during the Classics and the Tour de France. At the end of the year, I decided to quit in the off-season because I felt like I wanted to focus on this YouTube channel. In hindsight, I'm happy I quit, not because I hated the people there, but because I just enjoy this more. I've had a few offers from teams and individual riders, but honestly, I just love what I do right now and I want to keep doing what I'm doing. How do you look back on quitting your IT job to focus full-time on cycling? For context, before I became a full-time cycling content creator or YouTuber, I was a JavaScript developer. And I really enjoyed doing that, to be honest, but I just had more of a passion for the YouTuber stuff. So in early January 2022, I took a leap of faith to go full-time into what I'm doing. Honestly, thanks to the success of the Lantern Rouge Cycling podcast. Since then, I've not regretted my decision at all, but there's one thing I do miss when it comes to my old work, which is my colleagues, because I think people underrate sometimes how lonely it can be to make YouTube videos, because it takes most of my free time and I tend to neglect friendships when I get too zoned in on YouTube. But hey, that's about the only thing I can complain about. So talking about friendships, is it difficult to balance friendships with riders with unbiased coverage? That's a good question. I would say not really. For me, friendships I tend to see separately, because if a rider can't respect that I need to do unbiased coverage, then they probably aren't the best friends to begin with. Probably I would tend to see it the other way around, because it's another contact in the sport that I can ask questions to make my takes on the podcast, on Twitter, on YouTube, as accurate as possible. What are your professional goals and aspirations? That one's actually quite simple. Continue doing what I'm doing, continue enjoying what I'm doing, keep growing and expanding my channel, but also the Lantern Rouge Cycling podcast. Sometimes I take on side quests like trying to win the Tour de France with Jumbo-Visma. That's not a primary focus, that's an add-on. I make YouTube videos, that's what I love doing, that's what I want to keep doing. What would you do differently if you started as a content creator today? That is a very good question. I think one of the problems newer content creators tend to have is that they don't understand what the audience wants to see and what would trigger the audience to click on their video to begin with. Lots of people start making YouTube videos and don't necessarily think about how the video is packaged, so the thumbnail or the title. When it comes to the thumbnail, I spend multiple hours on that, but when it comes to the title, for example, my best video, I raced on Zwift every day until I win. I chose to make that video because I knew that people would click on that title. And now we are 6 months later and it's by far my most watched video. Obviously, that doesn't mean you need to ignore one of the most important things, the quality of your videos, because otherwise people won't click the next time around. There's probably more advice I can think of, but I'm trying to focus on my cadence, which is very hard apparently while you're talking. Anyway, I guess that's the advice I'd give to any starting YouTuber. There's only one question left, but for that one I need to finish the write-off first, go to my desk so I can show you some data. How much does a cycling YouTuber make? That's a bit of a private question, guys. Anyway, my largest source of income is this YouTube channel. I've got 3 income streams on this channel, which is first of all YouTube ad revenue, secondly I've got brand deals, and third is affiliate sales. When it comes to YouTube, people always think about the YouTube ad revenue, but for me that's only 10% of the income of this channel. Basically, during October I made about 330 euros in ad revenue on YouTube. But the largest slice is basically the brand deals. For example, a company sends me an email and asks me to promote one of their products in my videos, then I tend to respond along the lines of, I first want to test your product out to make sure that it's something I want to promote to my audience, that it's worth it for you guys. For example, the Sirocco sponsorship that I have in this video, I wanted to be sure that the bibs are proper quality, that the cutting of the garment is good, that it feels good to wear. Anyway, those sponsorships are the brand deals that I'm talking about, and that totaled up to around 3,000 euros in October. The last chunk is affiliate links, which is basically, for example, the Zwift Hub link I promoted earlier. Sales through that link tend to earn me a commission, and that made about 800 euros in October. So basically, in October, I made a total of 4.1k on this YouTube channel, roughly, before tax, unfortunately. It still varies every single month of the income that I have. Basically, what I'm trying to say is don't quit school to try and become a cycling YouTuber. Anyway, that's about it for today's questions. I'm planning to do a bit of an upgrade when it comes to my setup in the next couple of weeks. Might do a setup video as one of my next videos. If you want to see that, tell me below. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching and goodbye.